Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Fight Hub TV. I've linked to their video in the description. They did a one-on-one quick interview with Canelo Alvarez, who's training for his May 6th fight with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And they asked him about Golovkin Jacobs, and they asked what he thought. You guys seen in the title, Canelo says, me personally, I had Jacobs winning. I thought Jacobs won the fight. The judges seen it differently, but if you're asking me, Jacobs won the fight versus Golovkin, right? And once again, I told you guys, 2017 was going to be a very difficult year for some of you because you gotta tell the truth. Tell the truth, right? It's not about hating on a fighter or protecting a fighter or this and that, and it's about telling the public the truth and saying what you really feel in a respectful way, and ultimately breaking these fights down real, not just a bunch of fanboyism and a bunch of groupies and a bunch of people that don't know shit about boxing speaking their mind. Now, I am not saying you don't know shit about boxing if you had Golovkin winning versus Jacobs. In fact, I've never said the fight was a robbery because I don't really, fights that are some rounds or swing rounds and stuff, close fights, I don't call them personally. You don't see that on my channel, Boxing Ego speaking. You don't hear me call them these crucial robberies. Now, if you want to talk about robberies, I watched the Omar Douglas versus Edner Cherry. Something like that would be considered a robbery because I had Douglas winning 7 rounds and a 10-rounder, and he still lost. So, to me, that's more egregious because Edner Cherry got the decision in a 10-rounder, and a lot of people, not just myself, I talked to a lot of other boxing people, they felt he won 3 or 4 rounds max. And that's being generous to give him extra rounds, you know what I mean? So, to me, those are more robberies. Jacobs, Golovkin was a close fight. I was there live. I covered it. So, Canelo, he agrees. He agrees with the boy Ego. And I like Canelo, man. I like his attitude. He seems so, like, annoyed even having to talk about Golovkin. Like, I have to even waste my time talking. I don't know. I just like his demeanor. He's real, like, machista or machista, like, just, he's like a macho, like, man's man dude, cut and dry. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, why didn't he fight Golovkin? He vacated his belt. We know that. That's already done. It's happened. When it did happen, I made my fair criticism of that situation, and then to turn around and fight Liam Smith wasn't a good look for Canelo. But again, it's about tell the truth. Tell the truth. That was last year. I spoke my mind on it. We can keep drudging it back up, but I've already spoke out on that. I like Canelo's demeanor. I like how he's going into the Chavez Jr. fight. He's seen the pictures of Chavez Jr. flexing, and he seems unbothered. He's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, basically, that's what you're supposed to be doing. I'm not really, I don't know. I like Canelo, his attitude. Like, when it comes to, like, Chavez Jr. or Golovkin talk, he just seems totally, like, uninterested in terms of, like, why do I have to even waste this precious born-ready time talking about these dudes? But as far as the Golovkin Jacobs, I mean, like I said, a lot of you guys don't want to tell the truth. And at the very least, even though it was a close fight, I think certain things could be taken away from the fight. Like, even if you had Golovkin winning, it clearly wasn't his best performance. It really, to me, I think one of the bigger takeaways for me, I had a couple. On the positive side, Golovkin has a man-style chin. He has a hell of a chin, and he took some big shots. So I think his chin is up there. I rate that. I think he has a really good chin. And I liked his jab a lot. And it shows that he's tough. He's just overall well-rounded tough. You know what I mean? A good fighter. But another takeaway on the critique side would be Golovkin, I don't think he's what HBO and ESPN wanted him to be. And if so, he's not it right now. You know what I'm saying? Right now, ESPN last year told me that he was the top 25 in the last 25 years. And they put him above Terry Norris and They put him above Miguel Cotto and stuff like that. That's blasphemous, because if you look at it, look at Miguel Cotto's resume. He's proven what he's proven. You can love Miguel Cotto or hate him, or like, I don't agree. See, this is the thing, man. You get the raw, uncut, that unfiltered, that cocaína, that puro. Like, I'm not beating around the bush. I respect Miguel Cotto. I don't like his upcoming opponent options that they're mentioning. Brandon Rios and Yuki, and now they're saying Kamagai, like, who just beat Jesus Otacras. That's cool, but you lost to Guerrero. Why do I want to see you fight Cotto, most likely north of 150 pounds? But see, this is the thing. With me, I could separate all of that I don't like that current fight, and still tell you that Cotto, career-wise, resume-wise, he has one of the deepest of all active fighters. Like, he's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter, right? Zab Judah, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao, Clottey in his prime, Shane Mosley in his prime. You know what I mean? He beat Sergio Martinez, Randall Bailey, Paulie Malignaggi, even the guys like the Daniel Gills of the world and stuff. He fought Canelo. I mean, you can't doubt the man's resume. Win, lose, or draw, Margarito twice. He stepped in with the best, Torres at the time. You know what I mean? He stepped in with classic names. You know what I mean? And that's what they told us Golovkin. I mean, how is Golovkin, before he even fought Daniel Jacobs, because this was last year, so we didn't even know at the point where ESPN dropped that list, we didn't even know that Golovkin and Jacobs was going to actually happen, because this was, if you look at the dates and the timestamps, it was way before that, right? And then ESPN said Chocolatitos and Golovkin are on the top 25 of all 25. I don't agree with that. HBO's saying Golovkin is this monster and like making it like he's unbeatable. But I never really heard HBO, and my favorite fighter of all time, one of them, and like probably it's just my dude, Roy Jones Jr., right? And he was literally beating everybody and making it look like it was easy. Like, even Bernard Hopkins, you've seen Bernard Hopkins had a career after the Roy Jones loss. James Toney, he went on to stop Evander Holyfield, a guy with a man-style chin, right? And Roy Jones beat those guys. So Virgil Hill, you know what I mean? He beat guys and he made it look like it wasn't, like it was nothing, you know what I mean? And I don't remember HBO giving that same level of praise. And to me, Roy Jones was a freak of nature type of fighter. He was a phenom. He was like outer worldly. Like, he did the stuff he was doing. He got robbed of a gold medal. We all know he should have got a gold medal. Triple G got a silver medal, right? And Triple G didn't even have, like, he didn't, like, Jones Jr. had Montel Griffin twice. The first DQ was some bullshit. He knocked him out brutally to show you, to put the record straight, like, oh, that DQ was some bullshit. And he leaped from 4 feet away and knocked him out with like a uppercut, right? Now Golovkin gets to move on with his career in his tough fight, or his controversial fight with Daniel Jacobs. And I feel HBO really needs to improve their commentary in its totality if they want to be in the boxing world and still the landmark boxing network that they once were. Because so far, Showtime's killing them in terms of their lineup in the first half of 2017, and we have yet to see a non-pay-per-view response by HBO. But just the commentary like that, like Golovkin, he's good. He's a good fighter, but why you can't? I used this analogy before. It's like if I was a teacher and I have a student who's been looking good in class in terms of like their papers and their essays, their past work has been looking solid and they're doing good, and then I have another assignment, a 7-page essay, which might be a harder assignment than what I've previously given out to the class earlier in the year, in the semester or whatever. And that's like me not reading their assignment, their essay, their paper, and I say, oh, you got an A+, but I didn't even read it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. So the point being is you can't give credit before the assignment is turned in, right? That's what they, in my opinion, did with Golovkin. Yes, he looked good. Yes, he looked destructive, but they gave him more credit for things he hadn't even really accomplished. Like, to say he's before, like ESPN, to say he's above Miguel Cotto in the last 25 years, he probably would beat Cotto, but you still can't put him above that because Cotto moved up in weight. Golovkin hasn't really moved up in weight. Cotto has bodies on his resume. Golovkin didn't really. I mean, you look at it, Daniel Jacobs is his biggest name on paper. His own team said that, right? And some people don't even think he won that fight. So his biggest step up, some people are not 100% in unison that he won the fight. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can say, oh, what? But Floyd Mayweather, Castillo, Maidana. Okay, let's say people don't believe he won those fights. But you could look at his body of work. He still had other steps ups where he was supposed to lose, or he had a chance of losing in some people's mind, and he still. Some people thought Ricky Hatton, De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Cotto, definitely Diego Corrales at the time. They thought that those guys could either knock out or beat Floyd, and he rose to the occasion, and it's indisputable that he beat those guys. You know what I'm saying? The only one that might have been close was De La Hoya, because De La Hoya started off faster, but Floyd still moved up in weight to do that, the De La Hoya fight. I haven't seen that with Golovkin. Again, his step up with Jacobs, you have people like Canelo who's saying, you know what, I had Jacobs winning me. I said Jacobs won. Deontay Wilder said Jacobs won. Gerald Big Baby Miller said Jacobs won. You know what I mean? There's a ton of people who honestly, in their heart of all hearts, believe Jacobs won. Yeah, he could have did certain things different, but so could have Golovkin could have. You know what I mean? And now people they hate Floyd Mayweather, but now they're saying he won with the jab. But if Floyd Mayweather wins with the jab or non-knockout, then, you know what I mean? Oh, he's boring. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's crazy to me that we're seeing this turning of the tide. You got guys like Canelo who are now saying that when asked, I had Jacobs winning personally. So that's the other thing is there's a lot of race involved in boxing, a lot of race baiters and stuff like that. And the funny thing is they say, oh, why does black media, why do black guys, why do black people hate Golovkin so much, man? Canelo's not black. And guess what? He's saying Jacobs won too. You know what I mean? So it's not a black or white thing or Mexican thing. It's who you think won. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. Only black people think Jacobs won. That's not true. You have Canelo who's saying it too. And then on top of that, Canelo in this Fight Hub interview, Canelo's saying things like, he keeps repeating, this ain't nothing new to me. We seen vulnerabilities, basically. They said, oh, what do you think about, some people are saying Golovkin is now exposed and been exposed in past two fights. He says, it's not shocking to us. It's no surprise. We knew what we knew what Golovkin was good at, and we knew what he wasn't good at. So this is not new. And then they said, do you think this is a blueprint to beat him? And Canelo responds, he said, there's many ways to beat Golovkin, and they're all easy. So I like this talk from Canelo. I mean, obviously he does have to get past Chavez Jr. and he has to fight Golovkin. You know what I mean? That's the fight we all want to see. It's not just about talking. If it's easy, then, you know what I mean, show up and do it. And I think that's why this is one reason why they took the Chavez fight. Deal with that style, someone with added weight, and see how you feel, and then hopefully take on Golovkin. But I'm not gonna say it's easy to beat Golovkin because he does have, like, his jab is good. Like, this is the thing. I told people from the beginning. See, this is proof, and people got mad at me at the time when I was saying this. This was circa when Andre Ward was calling out Golovkin, and Golovkin didn't want no parts of it, him and his team. But this was around that time. I told you guys, it doesn't make sense to even the coin Mexican style with Golovkin doesn't really make sense because, first of all, there's no Mexican style. Not all Mexicans fight any type of way. Like, you know what I mean? You could say, oh, there's a ton of Mexican fighters revered for their inside fighting or their body punching and tough, and that's not every fighter though. Marquez, he's a great counter puncher. Miguel Vasquez, he's a fighter that some people would say is slow paced, boring type of fight. You know what I mean? So there's not one style. So that's one thing. But two, beyond that, Golovkin is more of like a boxer puncher, but he's just extremely aggressive. And the thing about it is he doesn't fight guns blazing unless he knows he can blaze you and like get you up out of there. Every time, it's no strange like occurrence to me. Every single time he's fought a puncher that is known as a threatening puncher, like a big puncher, 80% knockout percentage or better, that type of thing, he never fights them this whole quote unquote Mexican style, which is smart. I mean, you don't want to get, no one wants to get knocked out, I don't think. You know what I mean? So it makes sense, but it goes against what HBO and everybody else build you up as. He's like this robot Terminator that he just wants to please the fans, so he's allowing people to punch him in the face. Like, no, it's not what is happening. People get punched in the face because that's their style. You know what I mean? Like, Ruslan Provodnikov is more Mexican style, if that's what we're calling it, because Ruslan Provodnikov, he's been in there with Matisse power, and he's been in there with Bradley power, and I'm sure I haven't seen it, but when he sparred Pacquiao, and I guarantee you the common denominator in all those fights is Ruslan is coming forward. You know what I mean? No matter if it's Chris Algieri's punching power, or if it's Pacquiao's punching power, or Matisse, who got cracks. Bradley is on record saying that he fought Matisse in sparring, and he's the hardest puncher out of Pacquiao, Ruslan, and everybody. And that's with bigger gloves and headgear. So Matisse got cracks and was destroying Ruslan in the first 2 rounds. He was walking through that. So, you know what I mean? To me, that's more, because you're not going to change your makeup or your DNA depending on who you fight. You're just, you know what I mean, you have kind of one mode. And Golovkin, clearly, when he fight Lemieux and when he fought against Daniel Jacobs, he clearly switches up his demeanor and approaches it with some level of respect. If he doesn't respect your power like Willie Monroe, then maybe he'll get super aggressive. But he knows he can't do that. He has a good chin, but the best of chins will get cracked if you just fight reckless. You know what I'm saying? So credit to Golovkin for having the difference, to know the difference in what dangers to stay away from. But again, it just kind of goes against what he was billed as, and this is what I've been telling you guys. Now, as far as Canelo, he says Jacobs won. He said there's ways to beat him. I mean, we got to see it. We got to see the fight. I like this talk. I like Canelo being asked about Golovkin. Hopefully we just get the fight. I'm sick of this fight. Like, these are fights that actually should and could happen, but we have to talk about them like they're fantasies. Like, oh, what if Floyd Mayweather fought Pernell Whitaker? What about Tommy Hearns? Like, those fights can't happen. Floyd versus Paul Williams, who's like confined to a wheelchair now. So those fights can't happen. You know what I mean? Floyd and Duran, guys that are retired and stuff like that. But this is not that type of situation. Canelo and Golovkin, both healthy, both able-bodied, both can speak. You know what I mean? It's not like they're punch drunk. They can pass their medicals. We should get this fight, man. So I really want to see the fight. It was interesting. Check the link in the description to watch the interview. Interesting stuff from Canelo. He says there's multiple ways to beat Golovkin. And I mean, if can he do it? Well, we have to wait and see. I'm not going to even waste my time. But this is stuff I always knew. There's no one person that's unbeatable. You know what I mean? You just have to have the right ingredients and the right attributes, the right mind. You know what I mean? You have to put it together. So Canelo, Golovkin, good fight. They just need to fight. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.